Morning, guys. Welcome to today's live. Welcome to Daily Journal number 1. I've been thinking a lot about this weekend, how these lives, how I wanted to do them. And I think the conclusion, how I want to do it is kind of go back to basics. I want to be a bit more transparent with you guys in terms of what our journey of being an entrepreneur and a fitness coach is like, but not so much trying to create content or trying to show a version of myself. I want these lives to be a journal to myself. I definitely recommend journaling, and this is just me talking to myself. It could be my future self looking back one time, but it's just to hold myself accountable and just going back to basics of what made our business do well before we were even a business. In 2020, I just documented my journey, my fitness journey, and the things that were important to me when I was working a full-time job. I wasn't trying to create content for any agenda. I wasn't trying to sign on clients or anything for the business. It was just me documenting what was important to me. And that's how we started our YouTube series. And I think along the way, it's been such a big learning experience over the last 3 years. And for the first time, I think we're finally wrote out as much hype as possible. We're now in the thick meat and potatoes of what it's like to run a business. And I think the analogy that makes a lot of sense is like your local fish and chip place. If a new restaurant opened in your area, you'd want to try it out. You'd tell your family, tell your friends, you go there, and that, and say it does really well. It starts to be really packed. You have some kind of hype and momentum. Then after about 3 years, it just becomes your local restaurant. You drive past it every single day and you don't really think too much about it. And I think that's where we're at right now. I think the novelty of some guy that was working a corporate job, quit his job to, live the dream or be able to run the business. I think that novelty is kind of worn off now. And right now we're going through our challenges with running a business. And that's not to say that we're not able to find clients. We definitely are. We have retention, but it's not growing the way that we would want. And it's not as profitable as we would want. 2023, we made just under $500,000. I think we made like 450,000, but the big majority of that was expenses. We've had to invest towards like mentorship and coaching, reinvest back into the business or knowledge, because for us to get to where we want, we don't have the information. And as much as I would like to think that I could figure it out, I don't think I could ever figure it out. It's something that we have to acquire the knowledge and information from somewhere. And for the last few years, it's been a bit of an identity crisis of how I want to create this content. And I felt like, as much as I don't want to admit it, I think the pressure of social media got to me. I think when I first started creating content in 2020, I had maybe like 200 or 300 followers. And I took pride in creating content, even though I didn't have any followers. And I was just creating content for the love of it. And I think somewhere along the way where I started to grow a little bit, I felt the need to create a certain type of content, to present myself a certain way, because we needed to sign on clients. We needed to, get engagement. And we go to one mentor to another that tells us we should do it this way, we should do it that way. So we're constantly stretched and pulled. I think somewhere along the way, I kind of lost myself. One of the things that I like to do was going for a walk. I like to go for a walk and just disconnect from everything. I see a lot of value in going for a walk, because during those times you can't work. You just have to disconnect, and it's like meditation almost. And during those walks, I would reflect. I would really look at things introspectively, and it gave me a different perspective. And I haven't been able to do that. I have a walking pad and I just work while I walk. I'm literally stuck at the same desk. I'm in the same environment every day, and I'm not able to think in different patterns. Over the last year, I think my stories engagement has dropped a lot. Last year I was getting anywhere between 500 to 1,000 story views per story a day. Now we're getting like 100 to 200, but that's because I haven't been as present on my stories as I used to be. For the last year, I've just been taking photos of my food, and that's it. I've just kind of been taking the easy way out, and I've been trying to figure out how do I get that up, right? How do I get more engagement? But it's not about trying to get more engagement. It's about how can I be myself again? And I think that's what created the engagement, because I was just being myself. And when I go on these walks, I'd have these ideas and I'd share these ideas, whatever thoughts would come to my head. And I haven't been able to do that. And it's just been so hard to get back into it because I've just been in the same environment. And even though we've moved places, we're in a different place now, it still feels like we're in the same environment because I'm just at my office. I'm at my desk. I'm not able to open my mind. One of the 6 logical levels of change, the first one is actually your environment. Change where you are, you change what you do. And if I'm in the same place, I think in the same patterns. And I think what is also valuable, and I think whether you guys are interested or not, I think it's irrelevant. Well, it's not irrelevant, but it's not my main purpose, but it's just to document, not create. It's one of the first lessons that I learned when I went on social media. Don't try to create content, just document. Document what you do. Document all your decisions. And Hang and I, we go through so much struggles and challenges, but I just haven't been able to document it in a way that allows you guys in to what we're going through. And with these daily lives, I want it to be my daily journal where I reflect back on the things on my previous day. So on my stories throughout the day, I want to document every decision that I make. That's my personal journal. So instead of writing things down, I'm just going to put it onto my story. If you guys are interested, you guys can check that out. But if not, that's cool. But I'm going to document my day, and every morning I'm going to watch back my story, and whatever thoughts I have, I'm going to be able to share those thoughts. And I think that's going to keep myself accountable because I get to declare what my intent is for the day. And after this one, this is just day 1, but day 2 is day 2 and onwards, I'll share the things I'm grateful for. I'll recap how I felt I went the previous day, what my challenges are, what my intent, and what I'm looking forward to today. And so I just want to see how long I can do this for. And if I can do this for 100 days, 200 days, 300 days, 400 days, 1,000 days, I think it's going to be great to be able to look back and reflect on how far I've come and see the actual growth. And I think you guys might find it interesting. If not, that's cool. I know for me as a business owner, I would love to see someone run their business and take me behind the scenes of all the decisions that they go through. That's interesting to me. And so the shift that really I'm making here is I'm not trying to create content that I think other people would find interesting. I think that was a mistake that I've been making for so long. I'm trying to create content that I think people would want to see, that my future clients, my prospects would want to see. And I think that eventually hurt my engagement and the goodwill that I had in the market, because it felt like for some people I was creating content with an agenda. And by all means, like, some of the content was valuable and it did help some people, but it wasn't growing the way that we would want. And that's just we're just being objective about it. It's not about trying to get likes or trying to get views. I think it's an objective measure of the value that you're providing into the world and the community. And I feel like I could improve in terms of how I could present. And then I kind of just let you guys in. And so just to recap, my stories is got to be my daily journal. I want to document everything from every decision that I make, behind the scenes, everything that we're doing, some stuff that we're working on. We used to share a lot of that. We used to share every decision that we made within the business, every new thing that we're working on. But I felt like I just haven't been able to show that. I've just been so closed off. And I think that a part of me feels like because we haven't grown as much, it feels like I feel like I'm not good enough. That's pretty hard for me to acknowledge. And just for context, for this year, January, February, March, we've made about 100,000. But it hasn't been extremely profitable. A lot of it was to pay off our mentors and invest in new ones, continue to invest in knowledge, trying to learn how to run ads. And that was a lot of money in the toilet. But it was a learning experience. And one of the things that I've learned, and I talked to another coach, is that we need to focus on the organic content first and then the ads. I think Hang and I thought that ads would one day replace organic, where we can just run ads and consistently generate leads and clients, and we don't have to put that much effort into content creation. And I shared this a few weeks ago that I had to make this identity shift that I am a content creator. I have to create content. This is our bread and butter. And the organic was what made us successful initially. We just got to go back to doing that and be better at it. And previously, I just documented. I didn't have to think about the content I created. I just documented what we were doing, and it was fun. It felt like a game to me. You can feel it in the energy of the content that I was creating, because I didn't care. You know, I realized now my first episode on YouTube, the first series, there was so much passion and love into it. I didn't care about how many people viewed it. I think the fact that not many people viewed it, I took pride in that because I know that everyone else would have been disheartened or unmotivated because of it, but I just continued to create. And I think that created some kind of, you know, there were people that knew about us that have followed us from the YouTube series, you know, and they've said, hey, remember you when you were creating the YouTube series? And I felt like I haven't had anything meaningful over the last few years in terms of content. You know, if I create content, there is some value there, but I don't feel like I've been able to create something that I'm really passionate about. It's hard, you know, because it's like people who've written books before, they say that you have your whole life to write your first one because you have all these experiences, all these things that you want to share, and then you finally share it. But then trying to create the second and third book, that's when it becomes extremely difficult. And that's where we're at with the business. You know, it's I guess you can call it beginner's luck when we first started for the first 3 years, and now that we're in the meat and potatoes, now we're going through this struggle. I want to be able to share this struggle. I felt like I haven't been able to share this struggle. I felt like I had to be a certain someone, that people think a certain way about our business, and we always had to have our best foot forward. You know, I get so many people say, hey, you're killing it, you're doing so well. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm not doing as well as I want. You know, I want to do better. But I feel like maybe it's my ego that prevents me from being able to share these things. And I want to be able to break free from that ego again. I miss being myself. And I feel like I haven't been myself in a very long time. But I think it's not as simple as just turning on a switch and you're now just able to be you. I think it's a bit of an evolution. The first time I felt like this was a year ago during contest prep. I felt like I was stretched and pulled so thin and I was struggling with my mental health. And then last year, while smoking weed more than ever, and I thought weed was the problem. I thought having weed as a distraction was the problem. And now fast forward, 5-6 months we haven't smoked. I'm still not able to access the same level of productivity and that energy that I once had 3 years ago. And it could just be the struggles and challenges of running a business are starting to wear me thin. I know that the conversations I'm having of Hang now, a lot of it is filled with like a lot of self-doubt, a lot of uncertainty and self-doubt. And I never had this. And I think it was my certainty that allowed everyone else to feel certain, believing in themselves. And then they came along with Achieve Championship. But I think over time, just that it just starts to wear you down, and because I felt like I had to be a certain someone, I haven't been able to share this. I've just been keeping it to myself. And when you keep it to yourself, you're not able to grow. I'm not able to move forward from this. I've just been stuck here. And yeah, I realized that things aren't going to grow the way that I would expect if I keep doing the exact same thing. And so I just want to get back to the way the things were. If we're fucked, we're fucked. Just going to let the universe happen. But I want to enjoy the process. I want to create things that I'm proud of again. Maybe I want to get back into YouTube. But I need to figure out a way to edit the videos. I can't outsource it, When I started making the videos, it was a personification of who I was, and it's visual communication. And then it felt like it took too long, and I'm like, I'm a business owner. I don't have time to edit videos, so I stopped editing. But now I realize that when I look at people on YouTube that have millions, like for example, Jeff Nippert, he still edits his own videos. I watched this guy named Matt Armstrong. He rebuilds broken cars. He edits his own videos as well. Doesn't have someone edit the videos for them. And I realized that I need to do that. It's one of the most profitable things I can do. And I need to stop thinking about the things I'm doing. Is it profitable or not? Is it leveraged or not? Steven, how you doing, man? Yeah, I definitely think I want to go back on YouTube, but I need to figure out how and what type of content I want to create. That's the first time I've voiced that I want to get back on YouTube again in a long time. But I want to create something I'm really proud of. But yeah, I don't know where this train of thought is going to go with YouTube, but I'm just sharing that. It's just something that's been on my mind. And with the market and the economy, for the longest time, I don't like blaming the market or the economy. I like to take the responsibility to say that it's our fault. We could do things differently. But I think at this point, there's no denying that the economy is in a really shitty place, which means that there are less people that are able to afford our services. I think that's just fact. there are still people out there, because we still have people signing on and they're able to retain, they're able to stay, and they have a lot of value. We actually have someone that's from the States that's actually going to be coming down to Melbourne over next weekend. So that's exciting. But we also realize that the program is not accessible to a lot of people. And if I were to grow and have more exposure, I need to be able to fill in all the gaps and not just service a very small percentage of that group. So we have a high ticket offer. I think we're going to have a mid ticket and a low ticket as well. We do kind of have a mid. We only started rolling out our mid ticket recently. And so high ticket is you have two coaches. You have myself and Coach Nam, or with Hang, you have Coach Nam and Hang. That's the best program. You get input and advice from two coaches. It's the most personalized experience. And then we started rolling out a mid ticket. And that's just you work with Nam directly. It's the same strategy. Everything's exactly the same, except you just don't have myself or Hang involved. It's substantially cheaper. And then we are rolling out our low ticket one as well, because I feel like there's just a massive gap right now that we're not able to service. And I think I was hesitant wanting to create a low ticket offer because I didn't want Achieve Championship to be a cheap brand. I wanted it to have like a prestige, a premium kind of feel to it. And I still think you can accomplish that. And it wasn't something that I knew how to do. And I just knew that I needed to focus on one thing before I moved on to something else. But I think we're at a point now where we have the bandwidth, we have the time. And since there's a big gap in terms of finding the right high quality clients, I think being able to fill in the mid and low ticket is going to be the way to go for us to build our business. And I think it ties in right now. Alex Hormozi has his school games, and I watched a video of another coach that talked about the difference between having a paid community versus a free Facebook one. We had a free Facebook one, but I feel like that hasn't been growing because we haven't been putting in that effort that we need. But I feel like because it's free, people just don't really care about it either. And it just could be the way that we're doing things. But having kind of like a gated community that's low barrier to entry, that does require very small investment. It's like what we're thinking is like 89 US, which is like 139 Australian. And it gives them everything that we do from start to finish, but they just do it themselves. Like everything from start, like the whole strategy, the whole decision-making process, how to analyze the data, everything that we do for like a small fraction of the cost. And I want to make that extremely accessible. Make it so anyone can join. It doesn't matter like where they're in financially. It's like less than a meal out on a weekend. And because it's so accessible, I want it to have great results, have a money back guarantee, and be really known for that low ticket. And then we could eventually upsell for the ones that do want the one-to-one coaching, either to our mid or the high ticket. I think we just have to adapt. We have to put our ego aside and have to adapt to the market. So that's the game plan. Hang and I went through this morning to actually plan out the video modules from start to finish. What we were planning is have it trickle fed week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 as they join. And if they follow through and they get and they tick things off, they'll get access to the different phases. So, you know, it's the same. It's just the one subscription, but then they start to level up at their own pace. On top of that, they'll get access to our special modules as well, which is like the rest and recovery, daily habits, mastermind, mindset mastery, which our clients have said have been like really life-changing modules. It's the modules that I put in that helps me overcome addiction, understand what my goals are, so I don't rely on discipline and stuff. So yeah, that's what we've got so far. It's been it's been in the works for like the last 1.5 years. You know, we initially intended to have this low ticket thing 1.5 years ago called the Academy Pass as a way for the clients to have the one-to-one coaching. They've learned 80-90%. They don't necessarily need that high touch anymore. We haven't been able to service those people. They kind of finish off. And then we're considering, okay, maybe they can have the Academy Pass where they can be part of the community still, get access to the coaches, very minimal touch. And that has been something we wanted to work on, but we haven't had a proper way to implement it. It's just been an idea. And if I'm being honest with myself, I probably didn't put in as much effort as I would have wanted to do that. And so I first announced the Academy Pass 2022 in July, and nothing happened for a very long time. And it wasn't until maybe like 4 months ago that we started doing the video modules. So it's just consistent broken commitments and broken promises to myself that has gotten us to where we are. So now that I'm able to voice this out, it keeps me more accountable because I want to share exactly how I feel like I went every single day. So recap on a few things. We have to pivot with the market. We're rolling out a low ticket and a mid ticket. And to run a business, when I look at all the most successful coaches, that's exactly how they do it. They start off with a low ticket offer, cast a wide net, make it really accessible. I want to make it so meaningful and so impactful that if people are never able to afford the coaching, the one-to-one coaching, they can get amazing progress, like proper amazing progress, as long as they follow through and they keep themselves accountable. Like I want to just have all our secrets into that. And then the ones that still do want it, because I work with a lot of business owners, they might not have the bandwidth, the capacity to learn themselves. Then we still have the mid and the high ticket. So the mid ticket could be for most of middle class, most people working a regular job, and it's going to be very affordable. And then where I work with business owners or someone with a that requires my personal touch, then we have that high ticket. So in theory, it sounds great. Now it's all about like execution. And so my goals for this week is to rebuild a new link in bio, it's like a new landing page, and kind of start building out that funnel. So everything we do in business is really a funnel. You cast a wide net, which is creating content, and it funnels them to the next step, which is the link in bio, funnels to the next step, which is a low ticket. Then we have our mid and our high ticket. So yeah, again, just sharing you guys what it's like to actually build a business. And running a business is not about like, you have the fulfillment, which is like serving the clients, and there's client acquisition. That's the hardest part about running a business. Most people graduate and get these degrees, they have all this information, but they don't have the knowledge to be able to run a business that's able to self-sustain. And it's really the marketing. And when you're in coaching, it's such a niche / new industry over the last like decade or two. It's not as easy to market as a product. When you have a product, it's kind of just run ads. It's a little bit easier. You have a good product. But with coaching, it's so many different types of coaching, and I feel like what we do is unique. I'm sure everyone thinks what they do is unique, but I genuinely feel like what we have is unique. And the clients that are a part of us, they stay for a very long time, and they express to us that we've been able to change their life, and that's what really keeps us going. And so our gap is really, how do we find more of those people? How do we find more of those people that need us? And just given the market, if you were just to present a high ticket product, some people who need it may never give it that chance, or they might even know that they need it. So I think having the low ticket is like proof of concept when it starts to build trust that we know what we're doing. And this is exactly, we're so confident we're able to give it away for almost for free. Compared to what our high ticket program is, if we're being transparent, our high ticket program is like almost $4,000. So it's like $3,800. And if we're running our low ticket for $89, $89 US, it's a great deal. You get everything that's a part of it, So yeah, that's day one of my daily journal. My intentions for today are, I have a meeting lined up next Sunday with a developer for an app. Right now, we're using Trainerize as our white labeled app, but there are a lot of limitations with running the low ticket offer as well, because there's a lot of things that they can't do. And so we have a meeting with another white labeled app next week to understand what the limitations are. I'm choosing between two. I think I want to make a decision by Sunday, and once I make that decision, I'll know how to program and design the low ticket course from ground zero up. This week, I'm just finalizing the course curriculum and the schedule between week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. And being part of school, which is our new community, we've moved from Facebook to school. Our clients are actually incentivized and gamified to engage and interact in the community. They'll start to unlock modules. So I got to figure out what a realistic roadmap looks like, because I want to design something that's actually life-changing, where people are rewarded for putting in the work engaging and being part of a family, being part of a community. Because I know when I started, I wish I was part of a family. I wish I was part of a community. I want to create what I didn't have. And I think that's the biggest shift that I've made over the last few weeks is I'm not creating content for someone. I'm creating content for what I felt like I needed. Because that's how I created content when I first started. I was just documenting my whole journey, my process. So just getting back to that, and that's the gap. I'm trying to help more people who are like me, who have felt the way that I felt years ago, who felt they have potential, they don't know how to fulfill on that potential, they feel like they keep letting themselves down, they make promises and commitments to themselves. They want more out of what they're doing. They want to feel like things that do have purpose. They want to be able to manifest this vision that they have for themselves and not just look at other people's results and progress and the things that other people have and wish they had it for themselves, but actually having it. So you guys are going to see that over the content over the next few weeks, the reels that I'm creating as well, but also I want to document more of the stuff behind the scenes as a business owner, you know? Alrighty. I've got some comments here. Yes, Lord 86, where have you been? I've been trying to figure out my shit. That's what I've been trying to do. And every morning I'm going to share with you the things that I've learned. And I'm going to give you guys an honest review of how productive I feel like I could have been and what changes I would make. I think that's going to be more helpful than me preaching some ideal. I'm going to go through and break down. And the only way that I can do that is if I document my entire day on an hourly basis almost. And I can review it on an hourly basis. And I'm going to do that on my stories. Recap everything. As soon as I have a thought, a decision, I'm going to share that on my story. And that story is just for me. You know, I realize that that's what Alex Hormozi does when he does his tweets. They're not tweets to anyone, even though sometimes it sounds really harsh. They're really just tweets to himself, to his future self. So that's what I'm going to do. Share my thoughts, every decision that Hang and I make. And that's just going to be my personal journal. And then I can recap it on these lives. And also these lives, I'm now going to post these on Instagram. I haven't been wanting to post these lives to Instagram because it's such a long video. And I'm just wondering who would want to watch it. And instead of thinking about how do I create stuff that people want to watch, I'm just thinking about my feed being like daily reels, daily journal, stories is my daily documentation. And I just want to see for how long I can do that for. And I'll be able to look back and I'll be like, okay, day 0001, 15th of April, this is how I thought. 2 weeks later, this is how my mindset's changed. Because I feel like I've grown and I've learned so much over the last few months. And, you know, that you might not be able to see that in the content, or you might not be able to see it in how I present myself. But I want to be able to show. I want to be able to show my vulnerable side. Not for an agenda. I just want to be me. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Steven, brother, go for gold. I appreciate you. Steven's actually one of my clients from a long time ago. And yeah, lots changed since then. And I look forward to finding more clients like Steven, being able to create that impact, you know, because Steven went through a lot of what I went through. And it's very rare to find these young guys that really want to make these internal changes, you know. But yeah, that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm going to post this on Instagram. I'll see you guys in my stories. I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 0002. Peace.